welcome to LT's Hobby Farm channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm Lanny. The channel is all about teaching people how to do more with less and how to grow a lot of your own food in a very small area. We have about a quarter acre, a little less, and we grow in buckets and we grow in 4x8s and a lot of different things. Please check out some of the other videos on the channel. And I'm listening to the new drip water system we put in, see if there's any leaks. Today's video, we're gonna do some harvesting. We're gonna do some harvesting and then we're gonna thin our tomatoes. And I know a lot of people don't do that. They don't thin their tomato plants and prune them. We do because it helps to, for us, it has really helped to strengthen the plants, and we've gotten such amazing yields of tomatoes. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about harvesting. We're in Central Texas. It's incredibly hot, and things seem to ripen up. They seem to grow a little quicker, maybe just because of the intense heat we have. This morning I've already cut a couple of asparagus that we had come up. Asparagus comes up every year. We've had it planted now for 5 or 6 years where it comes up. I like to cut the asparagus where they get about pencil length and thickness because they just seem to be really good at that, and I love asparagus. Love asparagus. I got my little handy dandy basket here for getting some stuff. Haas Tools. Again, we're not affiliated with anybody, folks, so if I tell you about something, it's just because we use it and we like it, and it's because we've seen it someplace else. Haas Tools, they got a lot of cool stuff, and I absolutely think this bucket's great for getting stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and do a time lapse and kind of pull some things, and I'll tell you why I'm waiting and pulling at certain times, etc. I'm going to start with the peas that we have, and I'll get some down here just a little bit. You don't need to see my old man face. Here's our peas. And the peas, I like to wait. Our peas are just starting to kind of come in. And I like to wait until they get pretty plump. And what I'm looking at is, if you can kind of tell there, I mean, it's almost like my little finger, pretty close. But these are getting pretty plump. Oh, in fact, that one split a little bit, you can kind of see. But that's giving you a nice pod and getting quite a nice little grouping there. That just means that they've matured pretty well. And so I'm gonna go ahead and go through here and see how many I find that are mature already. We like peas a lot. We do new peas and potatoes. That is if our potatoes come up. If you watch the potato videos, you know that we've had kind of a horrendous time with potatoes. Don't really ever get very good yield. Definitely got some things to fix on my water system, but it's working, which is nice. That's actually going to be really sweet. We put in a DripWorks drip system, if you haven't seen the video, and it's just going to be a huge time saver when it comes to not having to water by hand so much. We still have a few things that we're going to water by hand, but for most of it, the overall, we won't have to anymore, which is going to be really nice. We can concentrate on other things. Let's see. Oh, we're getting some nice ones. Definitely going to have some nice ones here. Getting some healthy ones. as most of you know, so many YouTube channels where you can research, see tons of ways of doing things. Maybe something, allergies are crazy. Yep, we'll have to edit that out. Tons of ways of doing things. Maybe the stuff that we do here, because we're in Central Texas, doesn't work for you. That's very possible. But we're big, or I'm a big fan of, goodness gracious, I'm a big fan of several other, lots of other channels. There's a channel titled Lumna Acres, which is a family up in New Hampshire, I believe. And they have a beautiful farm, and they just give some really great insight and some really great information and resources. Hollis and Nancy's Homestead, wonderful site. They have a big place down in Florida that they do, and both of them are just very, very talented when it comes to growing gardens. Just amazing. And there's several others that we watch, or that I watch, that I just really enjoy. Cole the Corn Star, he's got some great videos. They have a huge farm. They're like thousands and thousands of acres, and they primarily plant corn and beans. But again, amazing resource, and just fun. I have to say, YouTube is an amazing resource for all sorts of stuff. There's just an endless supply of information that you can get. Though, I will say, and I know there's a lot of people that don't really do this much, read the reviews. If you try to take information from someone off of YouTube, make sure that you read the comments, read the reviews, see what people are saying about it. There's a lot of channels where you'll get into it and the information is just kind of bogus. And you know, it's just going to happen. You know, people are just posting whatever, and it just kind of happens. But anyway, I'm going to go over here to my other side. We'll keep going, and then we'll move on to the beans. We'll take a scan through the cucumbers here. See if we have anything. I don't think we have any cucumbers that are ready, but we'll go ahead and take a look here and just see what we have. After we get a sip of coffee. Beautiful cucumbers coming up. These are big enough yet. But I'm really happy with the water system, that's for sure. Show you guys here. See a few of the cucumbers coming up. Right here, you can see them down in there. Looking pretty good. You can hear the water system running. So yeah, we got a lot of blooms and things look good. Let's take a look through the squash and zucchini here and see what we got going on. Let's see. Some small ones. Oh, definitely got some small ones too. Nice. Oh gosh. That's beauty right there. don't care who you are. Look it over here. Wow, those are pretty. That's nice. Beauty. Another nice one. So, I have to water my corn today too. That's one of my ones I got to do by hand. Go in and we'll move in and we'll see what we got going on in the beans today. Move you guys in here. Now, you can see that we're now in a big enclosed area that I have. I have this plastic fencing over it. It's a little worse for wear. This whole system, I built it many years ago. Let's see if I can get you guys to stand up here. I built it many years ago, and it's frankly starting to fall apart. There's wood rotting out. There's a lot of things I would probably do differently, and I built it to keep. We grow a lot of tomatoes. We love tomatoes. My wife cans a lot, and so she makes tomato soup, salsa, pasta, sauces, you know, etc. She makes just a ton of stuff like that. So we grow a lot of tomatoes, and the birds will get them just as soon as they start to ripen. We have lots and lots of blackbirds and etc. And I can also see that we have a lot of ants happening too. We'll do something about that. But anyway, so I built this enclosure several years ago. It's probably been 7 or 8 years now that I built this. It's held up pretty well. It was completely off the cuff. I had no plans other than I kind of knew what size and how big I wanted the gardens inside. But other than that, it was completely off the cuff. So yeah, there's a lot of things I would have done differently, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to fix it, because it almost seems like I'm going to have to take the whole thing apart and start over if I do. And I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to do that here. You probably heard me talk in other videos that we talk a lot about moving and trying to find someplace where we can get a couple acres. And so we'll have to see. We'll have to see if we end up doing that. But if we do, of course, I'll do videos and take you guys along for the trip. But so yeah, so I'm not 100% sure how much work I'm going to put into it. The soil that I built in here, these beds are about 3 foot tall. We did that because we both have bad backs, like 80% of the Americans or whatever. And so I did it on purpose to get them up so that we didn't have to bend over so much. And they've been perfect. They've been so good, and the soil has been so good, and they grow really well. I think one of the other things I would do differently too is I wouldn't make them quite as deep. They're almost 3 foot deep, or across, I mean. And it makes it a little hard to reach. sometimes, and so I would probably cut them back to 2.5. But we're going to pull a few more things here. Got some, another thing that we do a lot of is jalapenos. We grow a lot of jalapenos. Love them. Tammy does stuffed jalapenos. And I have friends. And the great thing too about the gardens is here's a really beautiful jalapeno we got coming in this morning. The other thing about the gardens too that's so nice is sounds like I got a major leak someplace. Hold on, let me check that. I'll be right back. And we're back. We again, the DripWorks water system that I put in, I'm still checking for leaks and things. I've had a few here and there, and I had an end cap pop off of one over here. And luckily, or as you can see, I got a little wet, but luckily, you can actually fix them while it's running, which is really nice. So let's, we pulled the jalapeno. Let's go ahead and see what we got going bean-wise here. We do have beans. The beans that we grow are not the type that have strings in them, and they are really good. Let's see. Yeah, really good. And I'll show you here as I get in here. I'll try to get them. To me, that's a pretty healthy looking bean. About that size. You can kind of tell it's about my finger there. That's pretty healthy looking. And so that's about where we pull them. And so far, we have had an amazing bean crop. We've been pulling beans like crazy. We've also been, knock on wood, we've been really lucky with pests this year. We haven't had any, at least any that are really worth speaking about. You're always going to have a few here and there. I used to let the chickens roam and let them up into the gardens to eat bugs and such. That worked out really well. But then, of course, the chickens will also eat the leaves. And so they really enjoy that. So I went ahead and confined them to a little area back where they are. And so now they're just kind of keeping the weeds down in that area and the bugs, which they do a really good job of. The nice thing about beans is that they're actually pretty easy to harvest because the plants stay like you can section them out really easy and move through them because you can see the whole bulk of the plant right down to the root. It's not anything that really I guess intertwines in itself too much or other plants, and so that actually works out really well. And so we're going to have a very healthy bean harvest here. I'm going to go ahead and shut up so we can time lapse through all this. That way you guys don't have to watch all this and have to listen to me at the same time. Okay, that is just from one side. And when you start harvesting your green beans, make sure you look through them really well. Because a lot of times the really big, nice, healthy ones will actually be hiding on the bottoms of the plants. I've seen people completely overlook them before. My wife and I have actually done that before. I'll be harvesting one side, she'll be harvesting the other, and we'll think, yeah, we've done a good job and we've got them all out. And then we'll get in there and for some reason we'll look again at something, and next thing you know, we find a whole nother patch that we didn't even see. So yeah, pretty incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and move to the other side here with you guys. We'll finish up. All right. something we're going to do first that is going to help out my ability to be able to get these beans out of here is we are going to trim our tomato plants. If you can see here, our tomato plants are like a forest. And my walkway is covered and everything. So what we're gonna do is, and you can see I've got some nice tomatoes in here. You can see them growing underneath here. We're gonna go ahead and trim these back some. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm looking for in trimming these. I guess what we'll do is we'll just toss our cuttings down here on the floor for right now, since I can't really get a wheelbarrow in here. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm actually trying to cut out here. Find a nice solid place for you guys where you don't fall over. Okay, so I'm going to go through it and trim up some of this stuff. So the reason, hello, the reason that we cut the tomatoes back is because the leaves and the runners that grow that don't have blossoms, they don't have tomatoes on them, are still eating nutrients. And so if they're taking nutrients, they're pulling nutrients away from your vegetables themselves. So what we like to do is we like to go through and trim out, usually starting from the bottom, the runners and the leaves that don't have branches, I guess you can call them, that don't have any blossoms or any tomatoes on them. Sometimes I'll even cut some that have blossoms on them just because we have so many tomatoes working. Now you don't want to cut back so much that they start getting direct sunlight. You want them to have a little bit of shade. But if I cut some of this stuff back, as you can see here, it's going to make it so much easier for me to be able to see what I'm doing and to be able to move through here. Plus, it's going to make it so much easier when I get ready to harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and start looking at some things here. And again, I'm going to stay away from the ones that have tomatoes on them, and quite a few of them do. I'm going to go ahead and just trim some of these back, get them to where I can at least see what I'm doing. And again, I've said this many times in videos, folks, we're not experts. Everything we do, we read about, we discovered somewhere, we, like this one here, you can see all it is just plant. It had one small blossom on it, but other than that, that's pretty much it. And so again, it can go. We're not experts, and again, you know, with us, the way we do stuff, there's 1,000 different ways to do stuff. There really is. Everybody's got their own way of doing stuff, and there's going to be somebody that watches this and goes, "Oh my gosh, don't do that." Well, you know what? For us, it works, and so that's really all I can say is as long as it works for you, then do it. Oh, when we plant our tomatoes, by the way, I hadn't talked about this. We, my wife read online, again from one of the websites that from one of the YouTube channels that we follow. She read about using fish for your to put in to the holes for protein and minerals for the plants. And so we started going to the store, and I'm not really sure what kind she buys. She's actually on vacation right now. She takes a couple trips a year she's a bowler, and so I'll have to find out. But so what we do is we bury frozen fish into the bottom of the holes, cover that up just a little bit, and then we put our plants over the top of it. And again, amazing the growth that we get from our plants. One last look here, you can see how beautiful the tomatoes look. We got so many tomatoes coming in. And everything looks pretty good. Our water system's working. Pretty happy, pretty happy. So I think that's it for today. We did some harvesting. We thinned out the tomatoes, and I told you guys why. Hold on a second. I'm having some trouble with this door. There we go. Yeah, we got a nice harvest in, and even pulled a jalapeno, which was cool. I think that's it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff in the house and get it cleaned up. And thank you very much for tuning in again. I hope you found this informative and some information you can use. Again, I always forget something, but if there's anything you want to know more about, put it in the comments. Oh, also for the haters, and I know that there are some. I visit enough sites where people will make comments and turn it into the most ridiculous rhetoric that you've ever heard. Absolutely insane places they go. For you people who are sitting in your mom's basements in your underwear eating Cheetos and just trying to find sites that you can destroy and be ugly on, please don't do it here. That's not what this is about. This site is just for people that want to know more about being self-sustaining and to encourage people that you can do this. It's not a big deal. You can grow things, you can harvest it, and when you sit down at your first meal with a plate full of tomatoes or peppers or onions or whatever that you have grown yourself, it's an amazing feeling. It really is. It's just such a wonderful feeling to know that you had such a tremendous hand in making that happen, and you just didn't walk into the grocery store. It's a lot of work. It really is, but it's so worth it. So worth it. And the flavor difference, homegrown tomatoes as opposed to buying them in the store. So many times in the store, they'll taste like almost like cardboard. I mean, there's just no flavor, and they're just hard. And the tomatoes that we grow are just some of the most beautiful, luscious things. They're just so good. So it's well worth the time, folks. It's well worth it. And I'm a firm believer. I wear this shirt that I got at Heifer International. The future is farmers, and I truly believe that. I think that more people need to learn how to grow for themselves, how to be a little more self-sustainable, so that when things go sideways, you aren't completely lost. You aren't completely at the mercy of others. You can help take care of yourself a little bit better. I'm a firm believer that that in this day and age, not enough people are being taught how to use their hands and how to make something, even make a simple fire, how to grow, how to take care of some animals or whatever. Just to make sure that your family is taken care of, because your family is the most important thing. So, if you can take care of yourself and your family, you're doing pretty good. So anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you guys got something out of this video, and I will see you on the next one. The next one, I'm not really sure yet. I know Tammy's talked about, she makes her own laundry soap, and so we've talked about doing a video on her making her laundry soap, so we may do that one next, but I'm going to try to do these every Saturday, so something you guys can kind of look forward to. And a lot of it will just be simple repairs around the place and trying to keep things going. So anyway, again, thank you very much for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll catch you guys next week. Take care.